in like 6-7 grand debt, and I told myself I'm not gonna get a job.
But that's not going to get you anywhere.
I don't care about what you. I'm gonna just say it as it is.
We're all
daily.
stressing ourselves for literally just that. It's freedom.
I was a bit annoyed, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think apologies should work like that.
It's just not appropriate.
I'm
And
crying.
everything changed. I was like, right, this isn't clicking. This isn't clicking.
Sometimes it needs to be so bad that when you come out of it, the only person you can thank is God.
You got to choose your hard.
You now networking with all these millionaires and stuff like that, or
Yeah, I am.
does comfort kill dreams?
Comfort is a...
Let's make common sense great again. How about that? Yeah, let's get into it. So, hello guys.
Welcome back to today's episode, this week's episode.
It's your two favorite people,
Best podcast in the world, The Growth Club,
the Grow Club. It's your boy Mike and it's your boy Jazz.
The Girl Jazz. It's a great start.
I know, right? You don't identify as
Oh.
you girl, right?
No. My pronouns are she, her, as it's always been, as it always will be.
Facts. Anyway, we'll get into that. But yeah, so this is our 4th week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate. Let me just turn that down. We really appreciate all the love, support, the words of kindness, and just any messages. We didn't really get any messages this week. I think people are tuning out, to be fair.
Yeah, but I'd say my family and your friends have been really, really supportive.
Yeah. So shout out to everyone. At the same time, it's like, look, we're gonna do this every week, regardless. If people tune in, they do. If they don't, they don't. It is what it is.
Mike and I chat anyway, so we're just letting you guys in on it.
Exactly. Oh, and as you guys can see, we're on YouTube this time.
Yes.
Come on. Now it has to come up as well. Just tighten it with the
I think it's okay there.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, how's your week been?
My week has been good. I actually started the new job this week.
Woo! Okay, what's this? How's it been then? How's the first week?
It's been good. For those of you who don't know, I started a new job. If anyone can hear Chica.
Is the door closed?
Yeah. She's just going to have to try and open the door.
If she barks 2 more times, we'll let her in.
Okay.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So the new job I got is actually contracted for this. That's bark number 1.
Go on.
For this company who coach people to get their first Airbnb short-term rental. And I essentially am a accountability coach.
Sick.
So I'm contracted so I can do this on top of
What you're doing
my
already?
regular hours. Yeah,
Very
so I
good.
get to choose my own hours, which is
Very good.
music to my ears.
Yeah, sick.
I'm not contracted to just the UK either. I can go remote.
You see me?
Whenever we're
flexible now.
traveling.
Come
yeah,
on.
that's all I want.
Yeah,
Freedom.
facts.
So yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Can you go grab her? It's
Me?
easier for you, yeah.
Okay, excuse me, guys.
2 seconds, guys. But while Jazz is sorting that out, you guys make sure you click like, make sure you subscribe, and yeah, this podcast is going to be full of just conversations in regard to growth, whether that's life, faith, business, fitness, travel, just whatever it is. Welcome, Chica. If you guys don't know who Chica is our dog, our needy dog. But yeah, so guys, just make sure you click like. If you're liking the visuals, let us know. Leave a comment underneath. If you don't like it, also let us know. Leave a comment underneath. And make sure you rate, if you're listening on audio platforms like Spotify, Apple, make sure you rate the podcast and all of that.
All right, let's get back into it.
Let's get into it. So you mentioned something now. You said basically freedom is essentially all you want, right?
All I
So
want.
I'm going to ask you, see all this that we do, all this work when we do, all this creating businesses and, you know what I mean, just continuously striving to be quote unquote successful. What in your view, what's it all for? Like what is the end goal? Why are we all stressing ourselves?
We're all
daily?
stressing ourselves, especially us, for literally just that. It's freedom. And because of the type of, I guess, world we're in,
Yeah.
you need money to have freedom.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're confined to, working for someone else for a pay that you're not even completely satisfied with. You can only take so many days annual leave a year. You even have a limit on your sick days, so you can't be sick.
Imagine that. They're telling you, yeah, you can be sick, but not too sick.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
got investigated because I went over And bear in mind, I don't take sick days, even when I'm sick.
Yeah, I'm the one trying to push you.
Exactly. So
sick,
I haven't taken many sick days, but there's something called the Bradford scale, which I really don't understand. And yeah, I went over that just by a couple of days or something like that because I had COVID, and then I came back in, and then I had to go off again because I came back too soon. So if you're off for a long amount of time in one go, that's okay. But if you're in and out, then it's an issue.
Okay.
So anyway, it proved to be nothing because it was nothing. Like, they're like, why are you off? And I'm like, I'm sick. I was sick. And I don't take sick days.
Yeah.
So yeah, they limit you on how many sick days you can take. Obviously, some people take the piss, but some of us don't.
I'm definitely one of those people who did.
You're definitely one of those people
I
who
had
did.
to. I was sick. Mentally.
Yeah.
Not mentally sick, not in that sense, but it's like to go in for work those days, it was stress. Like I wasn't on it. And then, did she fart?
No, she just barked.
She it's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. It's like you're waking up, but you're going somewhere that you do not want to go. So the effort and mental resilience it took for me just to even just get out of bed was a lot, because I'm the type of person I don't like being forced to do what I don't want to do. So it's when I'm the one even forcing myself to do something I don't want to do, it takes a toll. So there were certain mornings where I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. And like, look, at the end of the day, it's like,
I knew when you wouldn't be going, because it'd get to a certain point and you're like, yeah, you're too late.
Yeah, because I'm already, because I kept on going in really, really late as well, because I just couldn't get myself to go. Yeah. And it's like, bro, at the end of the day, it's like, if I am sick, the hospital's not going to close down. And sorry, if I call in sick, the hospital's not going to close down.
They'll manage without you.
And even like at the end of the day, so like they can get rid of me here and there. Like, I don't know, we are very, when you do work for a big corporate company or whatever, you are extremely disposable. So it's like, bro, if you're sick, take your sick leave, because at the end of the day, all you have is your health.
Yeah, of course. It's just, I think the way I was brought up, it's, don't take sick days unless you're, crippled or whatever. Yeah. So I have that guilt even when I am sick. I'm like, can I? Because I work from home, so can I?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, because I can't focus on the actual job.
Yeah.
But yeah, just so what is it all for? It's literally freedom, but you need money in order to be free, to travel where you want to travel, to spend time with your family, and that is all it's for. But now that you're out of, let's say, the rat race, would you say you're free, or you have freedom? Because technically,
it depends on. Go on, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Technically, you choose your own hours. You can travel when you want. You can. You don't have to call in sick or whatever. You're free to yourself.
I'm not at the level of freedom that I'd like to be as of yet. Because even though I'm not working for the man, I'm working for myself. And even though it's not a 9 to 5, now it's like a 12 to 12. Yeah. Because I'm always working now.
Tough boss.
So in a sense, I'm at that stage where I'm still kind of like a slave to my own business. And it's not until I scale and build like a bigger team and delegate and stuff like that, that's when I can take a lot more time to do a lot more stuff. But I think that transition from your 9 to 5 into working for yourself is still going to be a lot of work. So in that sense, yes. But at the same time, it's like, because like for the reasons you mentioned, like I can choose my own hours. I can work from where I want. So it's like, even though it's hard, it's about choosing your hard. So the hard that I'm in now, I prefer that hard to my 9 to 5 hard, 100%. Even though now comes with the stress of like, no one's going to pay me at the end of the month. I don't have that security. It's all about me going out, doing work, getting clients, keeping clients, and servicing these clients and dealing with the clients and et cetera, et cetera. So it has its pros and cons, but in terms of like, am I much happier than I was then? 100%. Facts.
So what are you doing this all for? Is it for freedom as well?
I think, okay, let me try put it this way, right? I feel like everyone grows up a certain way, right? Some of us lean into it and some of us run away from it. So in terms of how I grew up really with a lot of love. My mom obviously loved me a lot. Did you get me?
She's you're her favorite.
Which I keep trying to tell my other 3 brothers, like, I am the favorite. Even though they don't want to admit it, I am. But with that being said, she was like essentially a single mom because don't mind that fella. Don't mind my dad. He's a bum. So
Name of this episode. Don't mind that fella.
yeah. So growing up as a single mom, my mom, sorry, worked a lot. So within that, she wasn't around a lot. So that's why I say things to you like, I cook for myself when I was 7. I used to walk to school when I was 10. I used to do this and do that. And that's because I was kind of forced to be self-sufficient, which is great because I'm almost growing up a lot quicker than most. Like, for example, even when I look at my little brother, he's like, 15?
Mm.
And then I left for uni at like 16. But I'm looking at him, I'm like, he's a baby. So I'm almost like, how did I do that at such a young age? But it's because I grew up so quick because mom wasn't around a lot. And even when it comes to that, it's like stuff like extracurricular activities. So she would be there for the most part for stuff that's important. But when it comes to extracurricular stuff, if she has to go to work because at the end of the day we still have rent and bills to pay, I'm going to my football by myself. I'm walking myself to training. I'm walking back from training. And it was one of those where, when you're at football games, I don't know if you know, but
I can imagine.
yeah, when I'm at a football game, and imagine now it's like a big game, we're in the quarterfinals of All Ireland or something like that. And I'm looking to the sideline, my mum isn't there, but all my friends, dads, parents, cousins, grandparents, blah, blah, they're there. So it's one of those where that was upsetting for me. Although like it didn't upset me because I get it. But me now, when I raise a family, I don't want my children to have to just get it. Like dad's away because of this, that. I don't want a scenario where I can't choose to be there. And this is not to discredit my mom. She did.
No, of course.
Yeah, she did everything she could.
Yeah.
And it was because of the scenario that she was in. So I'm more so now determined to make sure that the scenario that I grew up in is not the same for my kids. So for me, that's why I kind of work as hard as I do and try and create the freedom that I want, because I don't want a scenario where my child or our child is gone to football or karate or this or that, and I can't go because my boss said, nah, you have to stay here.
Exactly.
Which is mad. Like, so imagine me saying like, oh, hey boss, my son has...
Hey the man.
Yeah, hey the man, hey the system. My son has a football game today. Can I go, please? And he's like, no. And I'm like in my late 30s and I'm having to say please
we need
to some...
to cover the floor.
To next... Do you know what I mean, man? I'm like, don't like... Nah, it's just not what I want to live for myself or create for myself. So at the end of the day, it's like, no one's coming to save me. So we have to create that quote unquote freedom that we want, in it.
Exactly. It's like, what's riskier? Staying in a job that, is not going to pay you much when you retire, so you're going to have to get benefits maybe to live off, or your one paycheck from paycheck from being broke.
Yeah, facts.
You haven't got a backup there.
Facts, yeah.
And that is scary because redundancies are common.
Yeah. So what would you say to people who think having the one job / income is secure and safe, and are they wrong for that?
No, of course not, because I think we all want comfort. And I think if you can secure a job, especially, maybe these marketing jobs where the offices have
slides and like bouncing
and
castles.
massages, and you can bring your dog, and you got not treats, but snacks and all, and matcha and coffee. I mean, that is cool. Like to work at Google, for example, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
So if I was working there, I'd probably still be there. I mean, I remember years ago, before I even met you, actually, I wanted to move to Manchester and work for Social Chain, who Stephen Bartlett owned at the time.
Yeah.
And that was because they had a kind of like culture where it was very, I guess easygoing. It wasn't too corporate from what I knew about it. Yeah, it was like, for me, it was like Google in a way. It looked like a fun office.
Yeah.
So I did actually apply, having no social media or marketing experience. Did a few courses on Google and whatever. But yeah, I didn't get it. And it wasn't because I had a passion for like marketing or anything. I just wanted to chase that freedom. But yeah, I think people in those types of jobs, it's okay. You're going to feel comfortable and you're going to feel maybe appreciated to some degree. because
Yeah.
you like your colleagues or whatever.
Yeah, I think some workplaces get it right in
Yeah,
terms of
they
like
do.
creating that culture that people feel wanted and appreciated and
Especially some sales jobs as well, because some of the bonuses that people can get are really, really cool.
yeah, so it's like the
Yeah.
work you put in actually comes out the other side.
Yeah, but then that's not the case for everyone.
For majority of jobs, I don't think that's the case.
No, and I think that when you're in that circumstance, obviously, it can be difficult based on what skill set you have and everything like that, and if what even you want to do. But I think that is very risky to just rely on the one job and not have anything else backed up. Then, saying that, then being a business owner is also really risky. Again, you're perhaps one paycheck or one client away from going bust.
Facts, yeah.
But you got to choose your hard, because at least with the business side of things, when it takes off and you have multiple streams of income, you can then invest that cash into something that protects your assets then and protects everything that you've worked for.
So at what point did you start thinking like this then? Or were you always like F the system, I need to go off and do my own thing, build my own business, or were you?
For the most part, yeah. For the most part, I'd say I was always trying to level up in each job that I got. And none of them had anything to do with each other either. So
in what sense?
Well, I started off working in like catering.
Yeah.
And that was what my family did. So that came natural to me. I just helped them. Then I went and did makeup. I was a makeup artist because I did want to be a makeup artist like full time.
Did you do your makeup today? Is that?
I did do my makeup today.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
So pretty.
Thank you. I wanted to be a full-time makeup artist. I wanted to travel to LA and do celebrity makeup and all sorts. That was like my dream.
Yeah.
And also do special effects as well for like movies and stuff. So then I got a job at Charlotte Tilbury. I was like, okay, cool. This will give me a lot of time to practice on different faces, different skin tones, different textures, everything. And then from there, I always wanted to level up within that, but I never wanted to stay on the shop floor.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to go into languages. I wanted to be a translator. Because
what language?
Spanish. Claro que sí.
¿Tú hablas español?
Claro que sí. And so I wanted to go more into that because I love languages. And then again, everything changed. I was like, right, this isn't clicking. And then I found property and I was like, yes, this is how I can be free.
Yeah.
And then I just dived deeper into that. But ultimately, I'm always trying to chase freedom and not work for someone else as well. I just want my own time back.
Yeah.
So I'd say I've always had that mindset. It's just, it took me, because I remember during COVID, and I was on, what do you call it when they paid you?
Furlough.
Yeah, I was furloughed. It was great. And I was sunbathing in the garden, and I remember I've still got the notes on my phone. I was trying to calculate based on how much I was getting paid, which was like nothing. It was like £800 a month.
Yeah.
Maybe 1,000, maybe. How much do I need to save for a house in Mexico or South America? Because that's always been my dream. And I was looking at houses. I've still got them saved. How much they would be. Okay, how much would I need for that? And I was doing calculations on how much I'd need to work, how much I'd need to save. And there's a note that says, how much money do I have for socializing and stuff? And it says 0. And underneath it says, okay, well, just don't go out, sort of thing. And this is me like during COVID. I was 21 or something like that. Just came back from Cuba. So all I want to do is travel and so forth. But I made sure that I was strict and saved my money as much as possible. And then I just got out of that job and I was able to get a job that was paying more. I could work from home. And again, that was more of a sense of freedom for me as well, being able to work from home. So each job I've had, I'm getting closer to freedom. But then I just realized it's just not going to be working for someone else.
Yeah. And come here, you said something about everyone likes comfort.
Yeah.
Elaborate. And so 2 questions. Elaborate on everyone likes comfort, and also, is comfort a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, that's a question.
Hey.
What was the first one again?
Elaborate on everyone loves culture, or not culture. Everyone likes comfort.
Yeah. How can you not love comfort? I mean, you don't.
Yeah, true. It's
I mean,
comfy 'cause it's
nothing,
comfort, innit?
nothing much is expected of you.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you just do what you keep on doing,
Yeah.
and it doesn't require you to better yourself
Mm-hmm.
because you're just staying as you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of goes into the next thing: is that why is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, is comfort a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, so I think that it feels good in the moment, but
Ooh.
then when you're comfy for too long, you realize that you're behind,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's not a comfortable place to be.
Preach.
Because say you've got your friends from your old town or whatever, it's comfortable to stay within that friendship group.
Mm-hmm.
Then as you're getting older and your views start changing, their views maybe aren't changing,
Mm-hmm.
it can be comfortable just to stay in the same friendship group.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
But you're not getting any better yourself.
No.
So I think that comfort is a dangerous thing because it requires you to stay the same in a world that's always fast paced and moving.
Does comfort kill dreams?
I think so. I think so because comfort also goes into, okay, well, if I dream this or if I do that, I have to change my current circumstance. This dream might require me to move to a different country.
Yeah.
I'm comfy where I am.
Yeah.
I've got my family here.
Facts, yeah.
I've got my friends here. I grew
Yeah.
up here. But that's not going to get you anywhere.
Mm.
If you're being called somewhere else and you're just comfortable staying in that town where you've never left,
Yeah.
you're not growing. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said. I even feel like, for me especially, when I feel myself getting too comfy, I almost create a scenario where I'm uncomfortable again. So
It's like chaos.
yeah, because if I get too comfy, then I end up chilling out, slowing down, and not getting ahead. And especially in business, you need to be consistently researching, getting ahead, seeing what the newest trends are, what's happening here, what's happening there. And like, even for me, like my biggest discomfort moment was when I left my job. So obviously, like I've said before in the other podcasts, I didn't leave with any like savings. I was in like 6-7 grand debt because of like loans and cards and stuff like that. We said we'd move to Manchester, and I told myself I'm not going to get a job. So, disclaimer, I don't advise anyone to do that. So yeah, I just quit off the back of that. But it was one of those where I was in a space of like, it had to work. Do you get me? It's like jumping into water and not knowing how to swim. You're gonna have to make it work.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
I'm kicking, I'm pushing, I'm doing everything to stay afloat. Do you get me? So that's kind of what I did. I took that plunge into
uncomfort.
Do you get me? And we thank God it did work out. And even now to this day, like there's certain times where I feel like, okay, like the clients are happy, I'm ahead of work, and then I start chilling out a bit, and then that's when I actually end up falling behind because I'm not getting ahead.
But I also think you get reminded how easy it is to lose something.
Oh,
and
facts.
I remember this was a case where you had this reoccurring client.
Yeah.
So what were they on? A retainer?
Yeah.
And then one day you're just exed.
Oh yeah, facts.
And this was your biggest client.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
And it was bringing in, I mean, it was covering the rent and then some, and then some.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so I think, so even for example, that one is like, even based off one client, I'm good. I had a few clients, but if I was just chilling with that client, I'm chilling. Do you get me? But within that, it's like, because I was okay with the number of clients I had, when I lost that one, I was stressed again.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you get comfortable. It's like I was so comfortable in that, every first of the month, that invoice was getting paid. I was chilling and I wasn't looking for more clients. That's an example of me getting comfy. Once that person went, I'm like,
you're trying to find more clients.
I'm like, shit, I need clients now. And now I'm like, I'm back in that mode where I'm like desperate for clients. And then it's like you'd almost take any type of client, and that's not what you want to do, because that's horrible for business when you just get clients for clients' sake.
Exactly.
So then it's like, when you're in that position where you're doing well, it allows you to be a lot more picky and choosy of who and what type of clients you work with,
Yeah.
and that in longevity or in the long run will be a lot better for you and the business, etc.
Mm.
So with that being said, it's like sometimes you almost even have to orchestrate an uncomfortable scenario just to make sure that you're still, you know what I mean, hungry. Like I was watching an Instagram reel earlier, and there's this guy who's making like, I don't know, like 6 figures a month. But what he was saying is that to make sure that he still had that drive and hunger, he'd reinvest like the majority of it. So he's still like stressed in a sense. So that's like another example of ensuring that you're always, do you know what I mean, in that place of discomfort and always working and growing for the next thing.
Mm. Well, what you mentioned about how you left your job with no savings and just debt, it's not really the most logical decision.
No, it's not. No.
So
No.
that brings me to my next question. Do you make decisions based on logic or gut? Because that wasn't a logical.
Yeah, crazy. You got me there, actually.
Because that wasn't a logical decision.
If you asked me before then, I would say logic. Even now, if you ask me now without... Ooh, excuse me. Even if you asked me now without bringing that up, I would have said logic. But obviously, what I did there was very illogical is the word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very illogical of me. But that was very different, because that's where my whole journey of faith kind of not started, but that was the one where I was
stronger.
like, that was like a pillar, or a...
Pivoting point?
That's the word, thank you. That was like a pivotal moment where I was like, look, God, this faith stuff that we've been chatting about and I've been talking about, I'm going to put that to work now. And this is me moving away from logic and worldly, what's the word?
Possessions?
Not worldly possessions, worldly ways of thinking.
Okay.
I'm just going to do what doesn't look like it makes sense on earthly terms, and I'm going to put my complete faith in you. Because then when it does work out, no one can say, oh, it worked because he did that and did that. It was like, nah, that's just God, bro. Because there's no other way. Because like, honestly, it's like I didn't even really have clients then. No one consistent anyway. And I was just like, look, we're just gonna move to Manchester and then I'm gonna make it work. Or well, God will make it work, sorry.
And you were tithing around that time as well. And I remember that was the first time I've ever heard of that.
Exactly. I was still trying to give my 10% at the time to church and stuff like that. And
that was,
you know what I mean? It's like I'm giving 10% of nothing. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I had nothing.
Exactly.
But obviously within that, it's like God is faithful. He does say like he will ask of him and you shall receive. Innit? So that was kind of how that came about. So even now, it's like I'm trying to find the balance between thinking logically / trusting God, because I think there needs to be a balance. I think it's very naive to be like, okay, I don't have money for rent, I'm just gonna chill home and just pray about it and then God's gonna sort it. Like, you need to put action to the faith you have. You need to back the faith with action. So it's a case of like, if you do need to somehow sort out rent, it's about having the faith that you're gonna sort it out, but still going out and trying on to see, how can I make this money? How can I, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It reminds me of this story where, I don't think it's a real story, but it's a story anyway. This guy and his house caught on fire. It's either a fire or a flood anyway. So he was on the top of his house. I think it must have been a flood. And people were saying, oh, get down. There's a ladder there or whatever. And he was like, no, don't worry. God's got me. And so then a helicopter came and was like, hey, we're trying to save you. And he was like, no, God's got me. And then another form of help, don't know what this could have been but anyway, another form of help came. And he was like, no, God's got me. Anyway, the guy died. Of course.
Duh.
And he goes to heaven and he says, God, why didn't you save me?
Yeah.
He's like, I sent you a ladder, a helicopter, and something else, and you didn't take it.
That's nuts.
So that's just an example. Like, you need to also look out for opportunities and take action.
Yeah,
not just
sometimes God is giving you that thing you need. Yeah.
Not just being like, no, it's fine. He's got me, when it's right in front of you.
Facts.
So
So why do you think he wasn't able to see that this was the way God was trying to help him?
Maybe because the help was coming from
Coming in a form that he didn't think was going to come.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Which is interesting because now it's like when we're praying for stuff and it's like, why isn't God answering us? Why isn't he answering us? Maybe he has been answering us, but because we think, oh, it's going to come in this manner or this form, that we don't end up seeing it.
Exactly.
So then...
That's kind of similar to the Samaritan story, though, no? The guy that was almost dying, and a priest walked by, a rabbi walked by.
Yeah.
None of them were helping, but it was the Samaritan. It was someone else who he didn't expect would ever help him.
Yeah.
Was the person who helped.
Yeah.
And so maybe you're looking out for someone who you think fits the description.
Facts.
And it's nothing like that at all.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So I think it's a what am I trying to say? It's now we need to be a lot more open and sensitive to
everything,
what God could be actually showing us. And it's not necessarily going to be, don't let it go by, it's not necessarily going to be how we intend it to be. Because at the end of the day, his plans are bigger and greater than the plans we have for ourselves. So it really does make sense to allow him to decide how this help comes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then what you can just pray for is, I guess, what they call discernment.
Yeah. To know when he's actually... Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
But then, so now how do you go about making decisions? Is that still logic or is it gut / faith?
I pray for the knowledge to make decisions.
Okay.
So it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Do you
pray for wisdom?
Yeah, because then at the same time, it's like, if I'm in this scenario where I don't know how I'm going to get through it, I'm just going to leave it to God and pray about it and wait for him to show me the way, if that makes sense. So I think it's just about letting go and letting God and showing God that, hey, I trust you in this scenario. I'm still going to do what I can as much as I can, but everything above that, I leave to God. Yeah. So are you, what would you be then? Are you more logical or emotional or...
Definitely emotional.
Spiritual or, yeah.
Because we all have this idea of how we want our life to go. We're like, yeah, okay, so these are the goals that I've set for the year. This is what I'm going to do. And sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And you have to be okay with that because maybe you have things that are better for you.
Yeah.
I like to go on logic, but the ultimate decision is my gut. And then I'll take it to you and I'm like, hey, this is
to
what
me?
I'm, because you're logical.
True.
So I'll take my idea, problem, whatever to you. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, logically, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And I've done this a few times, even with things that you don't fully understand, like in terms of like maybe property stuff.
Yeah.
But we break it down together.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what logically makes sense?
Yeah.
But then ultimately it's like, how do you feel? And if I say I don't know, you always say just pray on it then.
Yeah.
So I think
you also don't like to take my advice sometimes though.
Like what?
What happened this week?
With content?
No. Remember we were sat over there and I was trying to like do some maths with you.
Yes.
And I was trying to get you
but
to...
that's just because I didn't understand.
So why are you admitting it now?
No, I said at the time I didn't understand. And so like, look, let's take a breather.
No, but you were like, oh, Mike, you don't understand where I'm like, I get where you're coming from. I'm trying to show you where I'm coming from. Because mathematically, logically,
okay,
what I was saying made more sense.
Okay, well then I was relying on my gut, which I leaned more towards. But obviously, I think you have to have both.
I was a bit annoyed, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't even ask why. You're just sorry. What are you apologizing for?
I'm sorry that you were annoyed.
No, that's not. I don't think apologies should work like that.
Okay.
I think you need to know why I'm upset or I was annoyed.
No,
and then you can apologize for that.
I think you're annoyed because I think I dismissed it.
Facts.
Okay, cool. I'm right.
Okay, yeah, you do know. Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Oh. It's just because I didn't really understand it and I needed to go away and think about it. And it wasn't, when someone just explains the same thing over and over again and it's just not going to click.
Yeah.
So you're like, look, it's not going to happen here.
Yeah.
So I just needed to go away with it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Can you stop? Hey, the first day we're on YouTube, this girl just keeps barking. Sorry about that, guys.
But as you get older, now you're
Yes.
approaching your 30.
Take it easy, bro. Take it easy.
Do you think you should be more realistic with your goals?
Does realistic mean smaller goals, or what does realistic mean?
What do you take it as? Realistic can mean smaller. For example, it can mean, well, I'm not going to dream that big because I'm only earning this amount right now.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because we're obviously talking about logic versus fate and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So it's like, if I do feel in my heart something's achievable, or I feel like God's placed it on my heart, then I'm not going to limit myself and say, oh, but look at what it is right now. Because I think for me now, because of what I've seen, of how I've transitioned from what I was to what I'm doing now, my mind is just so like,
It's expanded.
it's expanded so tough, where I'm like, nothing is limited, nothing's
Yeah.
impossible. Like I feel like we can achieve anything now, because it's like, when you're really, really, and I think that's what's like beautiful about this whole journey of faith and stuff like that. It's like, you'll be in a scenario where you're praying and crying to God, like why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? But within that, it's like, sometimes it needs to be so bad that when you come out of it, the only person you can thank is God, because of how horrible, or how boxed in, or how stuck you thought you were. So within that as well, it's like, 'cause for example, with me, it's like, my prayer was like, okay, God, if you can get me out of this scenario, I'm going to tell everyone that this was you. Because at the end of the day, it was. So for it to now come to pass, I can now say
with certainty.
I'm like, this was God. And it's like, so when people now come to me asking for advice, or how did you move out of this, how did you do that, I'm like, yo, it's God.
Yeah,
and
you have no idea. I'm like,
yeah,
hey, I don't
honestly,
even know.
like, to this day, I'm like, I don't really get it. But I think that's the beauty in it, because it's like, if I got it, then I can now say, yeah, that was me, bro. I did this, and then you got to do this. Obviously, there's actions I took, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. Do you get me? So it's like,
He gives you the location and or the idea, but he won't give you the map to get there.
exactly. So like, yeah, for example, you can have the destination in your mind, but he may not give you the, what did you say? Yeah, the map or the directions to get there.
Yeah.
So within that, it's like, it's, yeah, I think, wait, what was the question?
Should you, as you get older, should your goals be more
so
realistic?
exactly. So with that, it's like, what is realistic to me now? I don't, realistic is like, everything is realistic, because everything is now achievable. And even just with the people I've worked, you be quiet, will you? Don't be barking at me. Yeah, so even like with all the people I've worked in, I've seen what they've achieved and what they're doing, and the brands I've worked with, and I'm seeing how much they're making. I'm like, my brain is just so, you know what I mean? So I think we really shouldn't limit what we can achieve. And for me, it's like, what is realistic? Because now everything is realistic. Because at the end of the day, it's like, if I bring something to God as well, like, there's nothing too hard or difficult for him at all. Like, none. This is someone who created the heavens and the earths and blah blah blah, made us. Like, that's, so what's this like? Me saying, oh God, can you help me, make this? He's like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think we should be more, I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, because it's like, yes, you need to be a bit realistic with certain stuff. Like, you're definitely a lot more realistic than me. So like, I can be like, oh, let's just do this and do that and invest all this and this, and you're like, okay, I'm like, but we have this to do and we have that to do. So I think it's about finding the balance, but at the same time, it's like, in terms of like your dreams, I don't think you should limit or cap them. In terms of day-to-day stuff, it's like, okay, I can't really think of an analogy now, but there's obviously limitations to certain stuff. You have to be realistic with stuff. Like, for example, if I want to, I have an appointment at 2:00 and it's 10 minutes away, but I leave 2 minutes before it starts. I have to be realistic and be like, I'm not going to make it in time. But with certain, in terms of goals and achievements, I don't think we should ever, because you never know what's going to come from it. Exactly. Did you get what I'm saying, trying to say?
No, 100%.
What do you think? Do you think as we get older, we need to be a bit more?
I think typically people tend to be a bit more realistic because life gets a bit more serious. You know, you have a mortgage, then you have kids, you got to put them through school. I mean, that's the steps, right?
Yeah.
So I think then people tend to be like a bit more realistic. So if I'm speaking to a mother of 3 who has a full-time job, and I'm
Yeah.
saying, yeah, but why don't you
Just
get an Airbnb? Why don't you do
Yeah,
this?
or just quit your job and just take the leap, and
Yeah,
it doesn't make
exactly.
sense.
It doesn't make sense. And so she's thinking, yeah, but I have to be a bit more realistic. And I'm thinking, oh, you small-minded person.
Yeah, I know. Right?
You know, it's just,
yeah,
there's ignorance in that. So I think that it really depends on the person. But then in her circumstance, just because, you know, she might not be thinking as big as me, she just needs to think bigger than her situation.
mm-hmm.
And so being realistic is dependent on each person. But I do think it is more common as you get older because of
yeah,
the
well, as
life.
you have more responsibilities and stuff like that. Yeah,
Exactly. Like, you know, oh, I have to be realistic. I can't get a new car because the mortgage interest
Cost this
rates
much.
have gone
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
You know, for example, like things like that, adult things like that.
yeah.
But I don't think it's wise to be realistic as well, because then you're just leaning on your own understanding.
And what does it say in scripture?
Lean not on your own understanding, but trust in the Lord.
Oh shit, you know it.
Apparently.
Oh,
I don't know. I could be wrong.
You know what's mad? You're like you're a completely different person now. This is
Yeah.
nuts. Like
Crazy.
you're like a Bible nerd.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
just sick to see.
I know, because I recognize all the stories, right? And I'm like, hey, I know that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know that. What don't I know? So I know, like today in church, the pastor was
You're
referencing.
quoting scriptures, bro.
Yeah, and I never thought I'd like see the day.
Are you crying?
No,
Oh, sorry.
I'm just going red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really cool if I do say so myself. I am really enjoying it. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, don't lean on your own understanding. So you can be realistic, but don't let that limit you at the same time. Don't let being realistic limit you.
Yeah.
You know, you got to dream
Big.
You got to dream big. And obviously dreaming big is going to look different for everyone. But also I think that it does depend on the circle you're in as well.
Environment. Speak on it. Speak on it.
I don't believe.
Speak. Sorry.
I lost my train of thought. I don't believe that
Yeah.
you can be, you can dream big enough if your circle isn't also a group of dreamers.
You know what they say? I think it's like a fish will only grow as big as its bowl or something like that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
might just
I think
made
it's
that up.
actually a shark, you know.
A shark.
A shark will grow to its environment. So if you put a shark in SeaWorld,
Yeah.
it will only grow so big. But in the open ocean,
yeah,
I mean, you've heard of the Meg, right?
the who?
The Megalodon or whatever. It's like the biggest shark apparently in history.
Oh.
Don't think it exists anymore. Maybe it does. It's like a conspiracy.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that just goes to show that in the ocean, anything can grow as big as it wants, but put it in a smaller environment, it's limited. And that goes the same for you. If you're in an environment where you're not able to grow and all of the people around you have limiting beliefs, you're also going to be the next person.
Because then it's like, who do you share your ideas with? Who do you bounce off? Who do you grow with?
Yeah, and that's...
So how do I go about... Okay, for example now, right? I grew up in Athlone.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Where's Athlone?
In Ireland.
For people who don't know, because not everyone knows.
You have to know where Athlone... Okay, that's fair
course.
enough, yeah. I just assume people know it.
No.
Yeah, if you haven't clocked already, obviously, Irish accent, Ireland, Athlone.
I thought you were West Indies.
Really? Yeah, man. You know, some people mistake me for that, but, you know... Anyway. Yeah, okay, scenario, right? There's a let's create an avatar now, right? There's a 16-year-old girl who lives in a village in the north of England. The population of the city is about 20,000. She's grown up with friends that she's known her whole life, a circle of about 5 other girls. And now she stumbled across a video that's telling her, oh, you can, build this type of wealth. You can have this type of house, blah, blah, stuff that she doesn't see in her own environment. How does she now go about, quote unquote, what is it? Quote unquote? Or what is that? What do people say?
I think it's quote unquote because you're quoting it and then it's
you
the end of
quote.
the quote.
So shouldn't I say quote then say the sentence then unquote?
You give it a go.
I say quote. Anyway, how does she go about changing her environment? Because obviously it's easy to say, yeah, just move out and do this and blah, blah, blah. Because I like on the topic being realistic, how does she sort that out?
It all depends on your beliefs and are they limiting as well. So for example, like
No, but she's on a journey of unlimiting her beliefs, but the
Okay.
people around her aren't.
Mm.
Bear in mind, 20,000 population, small
Mm.
village, north of England.
Keep it to yourself.
Interesting.
I'd say keep it to yourself. You can test the waters on your friends or family and see what they think. But I think you know in your heart.
Okay, but how does she change her environment is what I'm asking.
I think you work on trying to get out of that environment. So does your job exist where you are? Does the life exist where you are? Because if it
Okay.
did, there wouldn't be limiting beliefs around there.
Okay.
There wouldn't be people who are small minded. So say you want to be a digital nomad and
An immigrant, basically.
oh yeah, it's a fancy term for that.
I've
isn't
noticed
it?
that all the people in Bali are saying, "Yeah, I'm a digital." I'm like, no, you're an immigrant, bro.
Yeah, I just realized.
Like, do you have to be like black or brown to be called an immigrant? Do you get me? It's like, no, you're a fucking immigrant, bro.
That's so true. Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah,
I
if you want to go
digress.
to Bali or Thailand or whatever, you need to go and meet with people. Join groups online as well.
She's 16 now. Bear in mind.
Okay, join groups online. Try and
Okay.
meet
Good
people
Yeah.
who are doing what you want to do,
Yeah.
and try and expand your network that way. Just because you can't expand it physically doesn't mean you can't do it.
It's the beauty of social media now,
Exactly,
isn't it?
exactly. It's at your fingertips. So I would do as much research and try and network as much as possible online.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can maybe have relatable or actionable steps then you can take to having the life that you want.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're not going to be able to share it with those closest to you. And that's okay, because you're going to find people that you can share it with.
Yeah.
I don't think you should expect the people closest to you to necessarily
get it. Yeah.
because they've also had a different upbringing. And so because of that, you can't assume that they're going to get it. You've just got to take it with grace and be like, yeah, okay, I can't share that certain thing with you. You know, and that also goes the same. It goes the same as you can't take advice from everyone either. Okay, yeah, you love your best friend, you love your granny. Does that mean that they're going to give the best advice on how to?
As they say, don't take advice from people you wouldn't swap places with.
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to ask for marriage advice from your best friend's mum who's been divorced 3 times?
No.
Not really.
I'll ask her for divorce advice.
Yeah. She might know a good solicitor.
I was about to say, who's your lawyer?
She can afford to do it 3 times.
Yeah. She's obviously doing it well. Yeah,
exactly.
True.
So start small, and sometimes, you won't be able to share it with everyone, but you'll find those people.
Interesting.
But you can always test the waters and see what they think, but don't let their limiting beliefs
Okay.
lower yours.
So scenario 2, right?
Uh-huh.
Sorry for cutting you off. Scenario 2, 42-year-old man.
Very specific.
42-year-old man, 2 kids, divorced,
Oof.
works at a normal corporate job. We'll say he lives in like London. Well, he's not too social. But now he's at this point where he's like, you know what? I'm unlimiting my beliefs. I want to expand my knowledge. How does that type of person? Bear in mind, he only has like 1 friend. How does that person change their environment? So let's just say, okay, I'm saying 42, but let's just say, add to that, he's not really like social media savvy and stuff. What does he do? Or is that something you can't answer because you're like a 25-year-old?
Yeah, it's not as if I can relate.
Yeah.
But I think it all starts from within anyway. So it's you taking the first step and trying to be that person that you want to be.
Yeah.
You know that saying, you got to kill your old self to be your new self.
I didn't know that, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you got to die. You got to die to yourself to be your new self.
Ooh.
Biblical. But yeah, it's again, like social. You got to. I'd say social media is the best way to do it. But if he's not social media savvy,
I reckon he just heads down to his local and get a few bevies and then.
No, that's another thing. I think you also got to go where your type of people will be.
Yeah, fact. Good
For example,
yeah.
If you're trying to find investors, your new business idea, are you going to go down to Wetherspoons, or are you going to go down to Alderley Edge? For those who don't know, Alderley Edge is I think it's in Cheshire, near Manchester, and it's where all the footballers live. It's where.
So are you saying they go knock on their houses? Or
No, I'm saying you go down to the pub there. Are you going to the country pub there?
Yeah.
Just
makes sense.
yeah, I mean, people like to drink still. I mean, we are in Britain.
Yay, few babies.
But I'm just saying, based on you can go to a pub. But
yeah.
based on the location is where you'll find completely different types of people.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on your environment. So maybe you'd go out a little bit further than you would. Maybe you move into,
Yeah.
you know, not the nicest place, but on the nicest street.
Okay, so
Just place yourself in the environment. So
yeah. So okay, so cool. You've moved from your hometown, Cheltenham. You're now in Manchester. Was it as simple as just moving and now like you're living the life you want to live, or how was that transition for you? Because obviously it's easy to say, yeah, you gotta move here and do that, and are you now networking with all these millionaires and stuff like that? Or
yeah, I am.
Oh,
But I could
speak
be
on
doing,
it.
But I could be doing more.
Yeah,
I'm a very introverted person. Like I don't want to go out on Saturday night. I want to stay at home,
yeah,
order food,
yeah,
maybe go out to a nice restaurant, but you won't find me out.
yeah,
But I have worked on my network since I've been here, because if I hadn't, it's just a waste of time. So you
Facts.
have to be uncomfortable sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I forced myself to go to places I didn't want to go to. I forced myself to speak to people that I didn't feel like speaking to, just to make those connections. And still, got a long way to go. I still need to be reaching out to more people. I still need to be making more of an
Yeah,
effort.
I think there's a lot we can all be
Of
doing.
course.
Yeah,
Of
I think
course.
it's just a constant. You'll forever be reaching out, forever networking, and
Yeah.
you never know who your next business partner or next deal is going to come
That's
from.
it. I think chat to everyone.
Yeah,
Even maybe, when you return home as well, chat
Yeah.
to people.
yeah,
Because once you've left, you're a different person. So when you come back, you're you haven't got the same mindset as you did when you lived there before.
yeah,
But chat to everyone.
yeah.
Because you don't know who's who.
And even if you're shy, that's where the whole being uncomfortable comes into it. You need to break some limits and beliefs that you may have over yourself. And I think even just saying, yeah, I'm a shy person limits you. Do you get me? So I think even trying to steer away from identifying as that type of stuff is important. Like, don't box yourself in.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because you are as you say you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You are as you say you are.
I am what I say I am.
Yeah.
I think there's a Jay-Z tune, isn't it?
I don't know, sing it
I
for
know
us.
where I can be.
What are your thoughts on that, though?
On which now?
Moving to Manchester, because you've moved a good few times, so you've had the chance to network in a good few places.
I've moved too many times. Yeah, definitely net positive. Although like majority of my business is in London, so it's like I've moved up here and I've got no clients in Manny. That's why this year I'm making it my prerogative to get out there and see who's doing what and network, and because I'd like to do stuff from home. Do you get me? As in, that's on my doorstep, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of really cool stuff in Manny, so it only makes sense for me to be doing that. So I think that's kind of the plan.
Well, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to leave their current situation and trying to be entrepreneurial? Because you've given advice to some people who have taken it so to heart, like so well. You had a recent message. You had a message recently that was like,
really
"Thank
nice,
you
actually,
so much for this advice."
Yeah, because I remember he messaged me saying that like just advice on what camera stuff, and as usual, I just responded with a bunch of stuff. I use this. You should do that. You should try this. Blah blah blah. And he responded saying, "Yo, thanks so much. That means so much to me." And I brought it into Jazz, and I was like, "What do you think he means by that? Like, why does it mean so?"
Why has he said this?
Yeah, I'm like, it can't be a me thing because it's just me. So it's not because I responded that it means so much to him. So then I'm like, I was trying to understand what just happened here. So then I asked you, I can't remember what you said.
I said that a lot of the time people are so secretive with the information they give out, and you gave good information so freely, which kind of is like what we talked about last week.
Facts.
But you gave out the information so freely that maybe he hasn't received that before. Maybe he got aired up in the past.
Yeah.
And the fact that you responded meant a lot.
Yeah.
Because he was actually able to action what you said.
Yeah. I think that's probably what helped. I actually gave him action steps to act out.
Yeah.
So I'm very much so like plan, but it's like you need to, do actionable steps. So even like going back to like our first episode when we were talking about New Year's goals and stuff like that, I think it's better to like have actions you're going to I will burp on this podcast. I think it's better to have actions that you're actually gonna act on.
Yeah.
Do you get me? So I
Mm.
think that's kind of where I look at that. But yeah. So Trump is in.
He is in.
Happy with that?
Yeah. I mean, if you asked me a few years
Oh,
ago,
so you a Trump supporter, huh?
hey, you're wearing red. You're a Trump supporter too.
I see what you did there.
Anyway, so yeah, if you when he was like last nominated, elected,
Yeah.
I thought it was the worst thing ever. I was in college.
Do you know what? It felt like back then it was like a dark cloud
It
that
was
covered
so
the earth.
dark.
Everyone was like, "Oh my god,
It
it's the
was-
end of the world?" Blah blah blah.
And I was in college at the time, and
Yeah.
I was in a location where everyone was Labour supporters. Like,
What's Labour?
Oh geez, you're asking me now. Basically not for the rich, for the people. Basically, it's meant to be for the people.
Yeah.
And so obviously a lot of the Labour were not Republican. They wouldn't vote Republican. They would vote Democrat for the US if they were Americans.
Yeah.
So I just remember it was just a dark cloud, and I thought it was the worst thing ever. I thought, we would go to war, we would have to back America, and they're pissing off Russia and all sorts. Now, as I've gotten older and I've put myself into not situations, but into conversations within my network of, heavy ballers, I guess you could say. Heavy ballers? High ballers. They're heavy or high?
Just say people with money, man. Why are you confusing yourself?
People who have
heavy
a lot
ballers is crazy.
People who have a lot of
who are
money,
doing well, yeah.
who are doing well. And I was able to listen into their views. And I was also seeing basically the mess that Biden was putting everyone in America as well.
Yeah.
He's falling asleep on the job all the time, basically.
He's too old.
Too old. And so then as I educated myself more, I realized that Trump was actually good for America because he's
you can say better. You know if he's good, yeah.
Well, he's a good businessman, and I think that's what America needs.
Yeah.
I think America needs a good businessman.
Because like during Biden's reign or whatever you call it, America wasn't like feared the way it used to be. Like everyone's just kind of taking the piss out of America because it's not the America that we grew up on that everyone wanted to visit. So I think Biden definitely needs to leave. That Kamala one, to mind her.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's like I'm not really pro Trump. Like I don't think me and Trump would be good friends. Do you get me? But
why not?
Because he's just we're just different people in it.
Okay.
But in terms of, I'm not really like left wing, right wing. To be honest, I don't really get it. I like common sense. So when Trump is saying men should be men and women should be women, let's leave it at that. I'm like, thank you, because the last 4 years they've been trying to drill into the rest of us that there's more than two genders. I'm sorry, out there, if you're one of those people, you're not gonna make me believe that there's two genders. Let's leave it at that. Let's make common sense great again. How about that? Let's make common sense great again. And like, I don't know. For me, it's like, I'm happy if you want to do what you want to do. Don't push that on me or children or people who don't believe that.
Well, this is the thing, because not that we have kids, but we've spoken to people who do. Yeah. And I've heard that in the schools, in nurseries, they're singing these songs, teaching these things about how you can't assume people's gender, and kids are getting in trouble for this, and then they're going home and I don't know what I am.
Didn't they arrest the guy in Ireland because he didn't want to?
Exactly.
He didn't. Sorry, what did he want to do? He didn't want to.
No, so a local guy.
He's a teacher.
Yeah, he was a teacher in Ireland. He had a student who wanted to be known as something else, and the teacher. So he's very. I don't know if he's Christian or if he's Catholic, but anyway, he believed in Jesus Christ. And he said, well, no, I can't call you other than what you are. Yeah. Like, you are this gender, so I'm going to call you by this.
Yeah.
He didn't make a big deal. He just said, look, you're in my class.
We're not doing that. Yeah, facts.
Yeah, exactly. And
he got arrested for it.
And he's still in jail.
Is he?
I think his family are fighting it because they're quite political. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, what type of world do we live in?
Where you're getting arrested for that.
Like, I'm so sorry. If someone... Like, if your name is Luke and you now want to identify as a girl, I'm not calling you Lucy.
Mm.
Your name is Luke. Leave it at that. Simple as. And it's not fair to press that on others. Look, at the end of the day, do what you want. If you want to be gay, bisexual, etc., that's on you. That's fine. That's
absolutely
perfect.
fine.
Cool. Do your thing. Don't push that on others.
No, because I think it becomes a problem where people are having a go at you for assuming.
I don't give a shit, man. If you look like a girl, I'm gonna call you a girl. If I get it wrong, because you're actually not a girl, sorry. But if you are a girl, I don't care about what you identify as. I'm gonna just say it as it is, and let's just leave it at that.
Scientifically, there's only two genders anyway. You can't.
Facts. And I think there's definitely a shift back to people being able to talk again, and I think that's important because then media just becomes a world where everyone is just tiptoeing and we're all walking on eggshells and no one's actually saying what they want to say. And we need to be able to say what we want to say. Even though I'm not like a campaigner. I don't really like all this freedom of speech stuff. I don't, you know what I mean?
You won't find you at a rally.
You won't see facts. You won't see me at a rally. But I'm like, I want to say what I want to say.
Yeah.
But you can see the shift bit by bit. I think even with Trump coming in, and there's even like a few like even like skits and reels I'm seeing that are very like, hey,
so dark.
Yeah, super dark.
Yeah.
But it's like it is at the end of the day, it is funny. So it's like I'm seeing the shift and I'm enjoying. The pendulum is slowly shifting back to like, let's just all be out here and enjoy ourselves and say what we want. And do you get me? Obviously, but at the same time, with that being said, we're not gonna. It's not like a bullying type thing. It's not like I can now bully people. But it's like if I have beliefs, I want to be able to speak about that belief with whoever I want to. I don't want to have to say, this or that, or if you want to use the C word, which is what, like, will they?
Yeah, you can't.
No, but we're not even monetized to not be able to say the C. The COVID, Corona, COVID.
Huh?
COVID.
Oh,
not. Oh, you thought? Yeah, no. I was gonna say COVID.
Oh, I thought you were gonna...
Anyway, yeah. If I want to say COVID, I don't want to have to like bleep out COVID and. Do you know what I mean?
That was the thing.
Do you know what I mean? It's just so bizarre. But like, yeah.
I think people are bored. I think that's why there's so much sensitivity.
And everyone's just so like. It's like brands have everyone up by the scruff of the necks, and it's like if you say anything bad out of line, we're gonna chuck you out. And I don't want our platform to be like that. I want us to be able to come on and talk. I don't want to have to like, oh, let's bleep this out. I have to cut this part out because this type of person may not like it. We're not here to cater for everyone. We're having our combos. We're allowing you guys to listen. If you not like it. I'm acting like your mom. Yeah. Acting like your mom talking
like
shit.
Get out.
Get out. No, facts though. If you don't like it, I couldn't care less, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think I'm definitely for make common sense great again. How about that?
I agree. And also what we noticed the other day actually is that America is becoming Christian again.
Facts.
Yeah.
They're fucking yeah. I'm trying
Beep.
I'm trying to work on my. Apparently, feck is a curse as well.
It is.
I know. I'm not gonna get into that, but I'm trying to stop doing that. But yeah, they were praying. The Girls Gone Bible girlies were praying at Trump's rally, which is really cool.
And a few rallies actually. They've even said that. I think they said the Our Father. I think as well, and it's been heavily like,
Yeah, like
Christian
we're allowed
related.
to say Jesus and pray on normal TV again.
Who was it that got banned from football for? There was 2 cases. Was someone who had a gay band? Was it like an LGBT?
Gay band is gay band is crazy.
Was it LGBTQ? Band?
Yeah, he had like the rim is a Crystal Palace player. I can't remember his name, but he had obviously because he's captain and because they Premier League champions the gayness, the gay stuff. The rainbow. He had "I love Jesus" on top of that, and he got in trouble for that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's like number one, you're forcing him to wear something that he probably doesn't agree with, but at the same time, even though he doesn't agree with it, he doesn't judge them for it. He's still trying to say, "Look, Jesus loves you regardless." But
he wasn't saying you're going to hell.
Yeah, facts. It's just like that's what. Do you know what I mean? It's still him putting his own little twist to it. He's not like for let's have all the gays marrying each other and do this, blah blah blah, etc. etc. It was just more so of I don't really agree with that, but Jesus still loves you. That's essentially.
But also as well, because you have a whole Pride Month. Where's
Jesus Day or Jesus Month or Jesus
No, but
Week?
even like war veterans, they only have like a day. They don't have a month. And even when you have like Black History Month as well, like it's not a big thing.
Yeah.
I think Pride is just, it's so huge. And I think it can be,
I don't know. Is it huge or is it just loud?
I think that by huge, I mean loud. It's really in your
I think
face.
it's just the type of people who tend to be that are just very in your face and loud. And
Yeah.
for the most part, at least, anyway.
Because there have been some people I spoke to who, are gay and they don't go to these Pride events because they're very inappropriate.
Yeah.
They're not for kids. They're not for the. I mean, there's a lot of sexualization.
Yeah.
And it's just not appropriate. And also, I just don't think it gives the best impression, maybe
of the community. Yeah.
of what the community can be.
Yeah, facts.
And so I just think, when you only have like War Veterans Day and it's not as if I'm comparing Pride and war vets, like not at all. But I'm saying, why have we got a whole month that's just really loud and such? And then when we have a real significant day, why can't that be stretched out?
It probably can be. It's just whoever's in charge just needs to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's even less of like saying, oh, their month is too long or whatever. It's just about if you want a month, get your month and go do your parades. I don't think anyone's stopping us. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I think it's even that. But yeah, I think we've had a really good conversation.
Yeah, we've had a whole mix of
conversations. A whole mix. Yeah. That was Stirring pot. So this is our first YouTube episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any tips, tricks? I will say tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks.
Any comments you guys have, please leave it here. I hope it was a refreshing conversation. I hope you guys learned some stuff from it. If I'm gonna say anything to take into next week is that, speak your mind. Say what you want. Don't be ashamed of saying what you want to say. I think that's basically it.
Yeah, and don't limit yourself either. Just go for what you want to go for.
Don't limit yourself. Dream hard, dream big. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. If you listen on the audio, please rate it, share it.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Same time.
And we'll see you next week too. With video.
Because we're on the video
exactly.
now. Yeah, and if you like I said earlier, if you like the visuals, make sure you leave a comment and say, yo, visuals were sick, lighting was sick. If you thought it was crap, just say, yo, switch this up a bit. Maybe try that, try this. We're open. And so hope you guys have a good week. Peace.
Stay blessed.